Nowhere is illegal immigration a more pressing issue than in Alabama. In September, Alabama began enforcing the toughest law in the nation. As written, it requires schools to verify the citizenship of students, and it lets police arrest people who don't have ID.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for Yellowhammer Now. Let's talk a little bit about potential legislation in the next legislative session if Kamala Harris were to win the presidency. Now, obviously, Donald Trump is going to win the great state of Alabama, and all of the congressmen are going to be reelected, with the exception of a new district in District 2 that has been redrawn. So a black Democrat will hold that seat, and that Democrat's name is Shamari Figures. Now, most people expect him to be the favorite there, but Caroline Dobson can pull it off. KIV has won that district before, and Katie Britt won that district as well. So we'll see what happens there. But the idea was that you make this a black Democrat seat, so therefore Democrats have to pick up less seats across the board in order to take the House. Now, what happens if Kamala Harris wins? That's really the real question in all of this. And I think Chris Elliott from Josephine has a pretty good idea. Revisit the immigration bill that was passed many, many years ago, the Hammond-Beeson or Beeson-Hammond immigration bill, HB 56. And it was a bill that basically said we hope these people will self-deport. If you're interacting with Alabama's law enforcement system, they can try to figure out your immigration status and act accordingly.
Section of Alabama's tough new immigration law that authorizes police to jail without bail anyone suspected of being in the U.S. illegally and to hand them over to immigration authorities. The Perez family came from Mexico illegally 13 years ago. They work hard and pay taxes, but now live in fear of being separated. Adelina Perez says she considered fleeing Alabama with her family after the law was passed. Not anymore.
We are going to fight.
You're going to fight?
Fight to stay here.
Fight to stay in a state where many want them to leave. Chip Reed, CBS News, Birmingham.
The Alabama law is being challenged by the federal government. A federal appeals court has held up enforcement of some parts of the law, waiting for lawyers to make their arguments.
Now, again, if the Harris administration is the law of the land, essentially, and using their executive authority to let more people into this country, they're not going to be very interested in actually enforcing immigration law, but it would be nice to see Alabama get involved in this as well. And as Elliott points out, he says, hey, remember, it's all very simple. The courts that have been appointed by Donald Trump, they are more likely to go along with something like an immigration bill being enforced on the state level. And we should like that. We should push for that, and we should do that. We should have done it before, and we did, and then it was overturned by liberal courts. And as of right now, the judiciary is relatively conservative, especially at the very top, and that hasn't changed yet. So this is a good opportunity to try out this legal theory again and do that. And I know Chris Elliott said, hey, we're going to do this if Kamala Harris wins. He wants to have a special session. Forget about that. Even if Donald Trump wins, they should pass it as well. And this is what needs to happen. And no matter who's president, we should make it the law of the land. So it is the law of the land moving beyond whoever the next president of the United States is. So it's a good idea. I just think we should do it regardless of who wins the presidency.